think everyone reads probably more than they ever did before, even though we think we don't, because you're always reading your phone, text messages, before bed.
Personally, I like to read in bed sometimes before I go to sleep. It usually helps me fall asleep a lot better. But I also like to read to my little boy before he goes to bed as well, every night, so that's good.
I like to read in a nice quiet area, probably spare room, or my bedroom, wherever, living room, as long as it's quiet.
Mostly I say I read in the study at home. So I have a small study in the house where we sort of have a bit of a library in there. So I like to usually sit in there in the morning and read, or sometimes before bed as well.
Yeah, I like to read autobiographies.
So I've just finished Malcolm X's autobiography. Most of my books are non-fiction books, so I like autobiographies, but a lot of it is sort of non-fiction stuff. A lot of psychological books or spiritual books.
I tend to read quite a bit of self-help books, psychology books.
Some form of autobiography. Probably not your usual football ones for me. The last autobiography I read, I think, was Bret the Hitman Hart's, which was fantastic, a real blast back from the past of my childhood. I enjoyed Andre Agassi's as well, so try not to read your normal football autobiographies personally. I don't overly enjoy them.
Boxing magazines as well. I'm into me boxing, and I've got a subscription for Boxing Monthly, which I get every month, so I read that as well. But yeah, mainly autobiographies. Yeah.
The Bible, best book.
The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's by a guy called Robin Sharma. I'd say that's probably my favourite book. The Alchemist as well, by Paulo Coelho. That's a favourite.
I can't really. There was football ones, but I can't remember the name of them. Even Stevens or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you'll have to have a look at that. But yeah, I can't really remember. But just mainly sport ones. Yeah.
From my childhood, probably be one of the Roald Dahl books. Maybe Fantastic Mr. Fox, or Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, probably for me.
I'd probably say Muhammad Ali autobiography from say childhood, sort of teen era. I don't really remember any from before that, and I wasn't a massive reader of a lot of the classics, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and stuff. We'd read a lot of those at school, but I ended up having sports books at home. Like I'd say Muhammad Ali autobiography. I remember reading Ruud Gullit autobiography, Pele. So there was a few sort of football guys and whatnot, but I'd say Ali book from my childhood is my favourite.
I didn't do much reading as a child. Once I got into reading, the first book that kind of got me going was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So yeah, that's a good book.
Firstly, I prefer reading to seeing the things at the cinema. I've read all of the Harry Potter books, and having read them and then watched the films, without question, I urge anybody to read the books, because the detail and the imagination and the storyline is captured so fantastically in the films, but it's incredible when you've read the books. So for that reason, I think you gain a hell of a lot more enjoyment from reading them as opposed to seeing them. And of course, as well, it's we all know in terms of an educational point, and for learning, and it's such a fantastic life skill that we'll need in the future. For you're going to become a doctor, a lawyer, or just read a road sign, we all need to brush up on our reading skills whenever possible.
I think that obviously it brings him on vocally, and he learns new words, and it's just a bit of bonding that we have as well. We he can sit on my knee and we can read a book before he goes upstairs, and it's just nice to have that one-on-one time, quiet time where we can just read a book.
It's massive for kids to read. Knowledge is power. So yeah, they're only gonna be wiser and more mature from gaining knowledge, reading books. So yeah, I think it's vital. Yeah.
Reading is for me is huge. I read something the other day actually that said you become the result of you know, the books you read and the people you associate yourself with. You know, so I'd say reading is a massive factor. You know, it can really expand your mind depending on what you read. Obviously, just reading in general is such a good tool. I think it's one of the most natural, inherent things that a human can do. You know, I think is a powerful thing to be able to read something and stimulate your brain. So, and then all the other intricacies, you know, vocabulary and you know, can even speech and you know, different bits and bobs from that sort of perspective. But I just think for your mind, I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do.